Are you looking for a contract lifecycle management system? Well, I'm here to tell you, you're probably wasting your time, and I'm going to tell you why. Hi, I'm Candice Quinn, founder of Contract Hack. I have worked in-house, I've worked in firms, I've had my own firm, and I've worked in the government. And I'm here to tell you that there are no contract lifecycle management systems that I would wholeheartedly recommend to anyone for any reason. I think the whole thing is a scam. I think it's a waste of money for a business or a firm, and I would steer clear. So during my career, I've used at least 5 contract lifecycle management systems, or CLMs as they are non-affectionately known. And I'm going to walk through from best of the 5 to worst of the 5 and let you know what I thought of each one. First, we're going to talk about the demo trick, because this holds true for every CLM out there. They're going to talk to, your procurement person, or maybe you, if you're the legal ops person, whatever. You're going to talk to the company that owns the CLM, and you're going to tell them your pain points, and they're going to design this demo that looks like it solves all of your pain points and is easy. But it's all a trick, right? It's just, it's smoke and mirrors. It's not actually going to do what they're showing you it's going to do on the demo. And when you really get in and get your hands on, it's not going to work like they tell you it is. And it's going to cost a lot more than they tell you it's going to cost, especially in implementation costs. It's not going to really solve your problems. The other big problem with CLMs is you need business buy-in to be able to really, truly implement them and use them as they're designed. And no matter what the business tells you ahead of time, once they see this new technology and it's there in front of them and they have to use it, they're going to play dumb. They're not going to try and learn it. You think a salesperson is going to try and learn another piece of technology when they could just slack you and say, I need this? That's what they're going to keep doing. And if you don't respond to them by Slack, they're still just going to keep slacking you, and then they're going to escalate over you, and they're going to get what they want without using the new technology, because that is what happens in business. The business will keep going, and they're not going to slow down or wait for the legal team. All right, so let's talk about the 5 systems that I used and which one I would maybe cautiously recommend. I wouldn't recommend it at all, but this would be the best one of the 5. Okay, Lexion. So I used Lexion. It was already purchased at a company that I worked for. It was a halfway decent tool. If I could have just used it within the legal team, it would have been fine. The fact that the rest of the business needed to use it to submit requests to legal, that's where the downfall came. No one wanted to touch it. No one wanted to use it. They just wanted to send their emails or send a Teams or Slack message. They didn't want to have to learn a new piece of technology, especially one that didn't connect with the system they were currently working in. Could it have connected? Yes, it could have connected, but that was expensive. So the business did not connect it. So they were going to have to learn another piece of technology that didn't connect. They were going to have to duplicate efforts. And guess what? They just didn't. They just didn't do it. And we ended up creating the requests in Lexion and tracking them. And while it was fine, it didn't ultimately save us any time because the business wasn't using it. Number 4, Contract Pod AI. Oh my gosh, this one is, the AI on this is, it's not even worth touching. It is horrible. And what they show you in the demo is not what actually happens when you're really trying to use it. And it's really just a bad piece of technology overall. If you're using it for the AI. Now, if you're just using it for a contract lifecycle management system, it might be fine. It still has the same problems of business buy-in and long implementation times and the cost. But the AI portion of it, which is what they really push, is really not worth anything to lawyers. It's not going to save any time. It's going to create more work for you as you go through and check the AI on it. Number 3, this is going to be a fan favorite, Ironclad. They've paid a ton of money to market this product, and it appears to be the golden answer to every lawyer's problem. It appears to be wonderful, but it's just clunky. It doesn't work. like they show it in the demos and like the marketing shows it. It's just hard to get it to function right. You need admins to keep creating things for it. They say it's self-help, but it's a full-time job for the self-help. So it's not something the attorney can quickly do in 5 minutes and make something. You need an ops person dedicated to it, which a lot of in-house teams are not going to have, and they're going to be relying on an attorney or a couple attorneys to help with it. It's really not going to solve the problems, and it still faces the business buy-in aspect, because whether or not it integrates with another CRM or other systems that the business uses, they still have to use individual pieces in order to put the request into Ironclad. And then you also have to rely on third parties receiving the request through Ironclad, responding appropriately, like i.e. following the Ironclad instructions to get it back and have it work seamlessly, which is just, as we all know, we can't control third parties. So anything that relies on that is not going to be good. So again, I don't recommend Ironclad. Okay, number 2, and this is a good one, Icertis. Oh my gosh, could there be a more complicated piece of software for just keeping a contract in a repository? How many times do you need to click another button to get to where you want to change something or update something or actually save it? It's like I'm clicking and I'm clicking and I'm clicking. Oh, and I can't approve this because it was created before I was added as an approver. Well, that makes it completely useless for me now. So I highly don't recommend this. In fact, multiple admins have worked on Icertis at the company that I worked at that had it, and they still can't keep it working properly. Like, you just shouldn't have that many admins working to keep a simple piece of software functioning for a team of lawyers. Like, that's insane. So I don't recommend Icertis. I think it is the most convoluted, clunkiest piece of software I have ever seen, and yeah, stay away. Okay, number 1, my worst, the one I implemented myself because it was chosen for me. I did not choose it, but I implemented it, and oh, it was bad. Oh, it's so bad. And I used it at 2 different companies, and neither one could it work. Okay, Conga. Yes, Conga. So the part that's horrible with this is that you need a full-time Salesforce admin because it creates custom objects and all this other stuff to draft templates. But the templates are like, they're in HTML, they have tags, they're all kinds of convoluted, and it wants you to use the Conga sign function and not another signature platform that you have, and then you have to do another workaround, and it's a full-time job. When I implemented it, the ERP team that I had helping me implement it, they spent hours upon hours on it, still ended up having to make me an admin so I could create some of the things myself because it was just taking them so long to do it. And when I got the whole thing implemented, it didn't even work as Conga sold it to me. I couldn't empower the salespeople to make changes to the documents like I thought I could without giving them the ability to change everything about the document, which I didn't want them to do. So now I was in a situation where the salespeople were just emailing me the request. I was creating all of the contracts through Conga, and I was sending them all out for signature and handling all the red lines. So it was extremely unhelpful and extremely time intensive and added more to my plate than if I hadn't implemented it at all. Now, the second company I worked for already had Conga implemented, and they were facing similar issues with it. They had a couple full-time Salesforce admins dedicated to Conga, and they still couldn't solve some of the problems with it, like changing the template of an NDA was apparently breaking the system. I was the one who actually figured that out, not the Salesforce admin, and it was just a clunky piece of junk that I would never want to touch again if I could avoid it. And of course, I don't get a say over what CLM any of the companies I work for use. I will probably never get a say in what the budget is spent on, and that's okay with me. I'm happy to use all of these pieces of crap and make fun of them because, quite frankly, that's what they're worth, because I do more work without them, and you learn how to use them the smallest amount possible to get the job done. So in my opinion, you're better off using Google Drive or OneDrive or some other folder system to maintain your contracts and keep them organized so that you can easily find them. Spending the money on a good contract manager that will spend their full-time job organizing and maintaining the contracts is a much more viable investment than any of this software will be. If you're looking for AI to help with a CLM, it's not going to do anything. You can give it your template, you can give it your playbook, you can give it everything you have, and it is still not going to be able to read a contract and identify all of the issues or the differences or where you diverted from your typical language. None of that is going to happen. So the best investment you can make is with a human who is going to maintain it for you and really keep everything on track. That is where I've seen the most success, and that is where I feel the most success is. And by using a Google Drive or a OneDrive, you don't need to have the business buy into your new system. They can simply submit a request in whatever system they're currently using, which is going to be easier for them. If it ties and pulls in all of the information that you need, that is even more, that is even better for you, for the business. And then having the contract manager simply manage the contracts on the back end, like that's the best part. You don't need to worry about what the business thinks or if it's taking too long. Like, they're not seeing any of that. They're not interfacing with it, and they can't criticize it or forget to use it. If your company is insisting on a CLM, then you absolutely need to get buy-in from a very high level, preferably the CEO, and it needs to flow down to all departments of the business. They all need to understand that this is a non-negotiable. You have to learn this, because if you don't get the business to buy in, any CLM is not going to do half of what they say it will do. It's not going to do the other half of what they say it will do, because it just can't do that. But it's not going to do what it can actually do if your business is not buying in. Also, if you are going with a CLM, you're probably going to need to hire somebody who's fully dedicated to managing this software, because otherwise things are going to break. You're going to need to make changes to process or templates or whatever the case is, and you're not going to have no one else is going to have enough knowledge to be able to make this change. So you need that full-time person that understands your business and can help you make that change very easily and very quickly. So it's not just the cost of the software, it's also going to be the cost of an admin to manage and operate the software. All right, if you've been burned by a CLM system in the past, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below. And if you work for a CLM company, drop me a comment, because I'm open to a reasonable discussion about why I'm wrong about your software, but I really don't think I am wrong, but let's chat. I'm happy to. If you're an in-house attorney looking at buying a CLM or being tasked with finding the appropriate CLM, why don't you drop me a line and we can really chat. There is a link to schedule a call with me in the pinned comment in the description below. I would love to give you some more honest information about what I think about CLMs and some of the other demos that I have seen and products I have used, and let you know what I really think about them. And if you just enjoyed this video, go ahead and like it and subscribe to Contract Hack, and I will see you in the next one, hackers. Bye.